Hi everybody, welcome to this video. Now if you're here, you probably follow the link I posted in Bumba and Fofinha's original video called 5 Reasons to Visit Portugal. And if you haven't watched that video yet, I've left a link in the description below. Go and watch it, leave a thumbs up because I'm sure you will enjoy it. It's hilarious. And then come back here and we'll get cracking. Okay, now in her video, she's obviously exaggerating with a very thick Portuguese accent, and what sometimes sounds, to me at least, be of a bit of a Russian, Slavic, Eastern accent just thrown in there for good measure. I don't know if she's doing that on purpose, but she's definitely exaggerating with a very thick Portuguese accent. And because she's, I suppose, playing a role, she also is very spot on all the classic mistakes an average Portuguese speaker would make when trying to speak English. But again, this is not going to be about grammar or pronunciation because first of all, I'm not a very good teacher myself, and secondly, that's why I think the video is extremely funny. But what I would like to do here instead is to go over a couple of expressions that she did use in her video, but she didn't really translate into, I suppose you can say, good English. I mean, she just used a literal translation from Portuguese into English, which, by all accounts, can be very, very funny if you already understand the Portuguese expression and you just find it very funny and you get the joke. But if you don't understand the expression, even if you speak Portuguese as a foreign language, you're, I think, left in the dark. So that's what I like to do here, and just to go over those expressions and just find ways to say that, to translate that into natural English. And even if you do get the joke, if you're Portuguese yourself and you get the joke, maybe you were left wondering, you know, how do I actually say that in natural English? That could be interesting. That could be useful in my line of work, or just when I'm hanging out with friends, or in my travel abroad. So that's what we're going to do here. All right, so to make things more interesting, we're going to start with the more formal and classic expressions, the ones that you would actually learn in language school. So just in case you've missed these, here we go. Ter o rei na barriga, to have the king in your belly. That's how it literally translates into English. But it basically just means that a person is full of herself. You know, a touch of snobbishness, a splash of pretentiousness, that kind of person. Matar dois coelhos de uma cajadada. Now this is also a classic proverb that everybody learns back in school. Literally translates as to kill 2 rabbits with 1 blow of your staff. Cajado being a staff. Now in English, you just forget about the rabbits, you lay down your staff, you pick a rock, and you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, so now here's where things start to get a little bit trickier. Let's look at 2 expressions that she used, more of cultural references really, that every single Portuguese, I mean virtually every Portuguese, will understand right off the bat. Alright, first up, the Arrastão. What's this all about? Now arrastar, as I'm sure you all know, it generically means to drag something, or to drag somebody, or to drag yourself. But in this case, it refers back to something that happened at a beach in Carcavelos in June 2005. Now, according to the news of the time, some 30, 40 dastardly, good-for-nothing wrongdoers decided to pull one of the biggest beach heists Portugal had ever witnessed to date. And so much like trawlers cast their nets and then proceed to sweep the surface or the bottom of the ocean in an effort to catch all sorts of fish, so did our thieves swept entire swathes of beach and people of their precious belongings. Now, a possible translation, in keeping with the background original story and still keeping everything in the maritime realm, as it were, would be to just translate this as the Great Sweep or the Great Tidal Wave. But it's only a suggestion. I'm sure you can think of something better. Don't forget to leave your comment in the comment section below. And I've also posted a link in the description box below so you can go and watch the original piece that was broadcasted in 2005. You're very white. Put cream. Now this is a cultural reference that is very obscure, and if it's the first time you're hearing this, you probably are left in the dark guessing what it's all about. But take heart, I'm here to shed some light on this, just not too much light because we're dealing with sunlight here. You see, this all harks back to the larger-than-life, womanizer, flamboyant Zézé Camarinha. Legend has it that in his prime, Zézé Camarinha was able to effortlessly catcall, pick up, make love to different women at the same time. Now, what he would do is that he would prey on these not-so-helpless creatures in the many glorious beaches that the Algarve has to offer, and with very limited and basic knowledge of English, and hence the famous phrase, you look very white, why don't we go to the beach? This actually happened. This is true. I've left a link in the description box below so you can watch the original piece as it was broadcasted, I think back in 2000. And ever since it came out, 18 years ago already, it has become such a staple of comical and cultural reference in Portugal that, at least for my generation, everybody understands what you were referring to when you just say you're very white or why don't we go to the beach. And we're now entering the realm of the very popular and the very informal Portuguese expressions. Now these are, rest assured, by no means vulgar. They are just very informal, and so it makes them hard to use in a booth, but it's definitely something you can come across in a translation. Ser mais que os mais. Now, when a group of people or things are just more than you can count, and you really want to stress the fact that there's a lot of them, then you're in the face of this expression, more than the mothers themselves. Simply, more than you can count. Let's not forget that there's an underlying tone of criticism here, and if you go back and watch Bumba and Fofinha's video, you will see what I mean, because she's saying that Lisbon is just overcrowded with tourists to begin with. Keep that in mind when translating or using this expression. Isto vai dar molho. This is going to give sauce. I know it sounds terrible and disgusting, but it almost always means that some trouble is coming your way or relatively close to you. And if you really think about it, it almost always implies that some violent physical contact is about to happen, like some fist fight or some pushing around. And I suppose you could say something like, oh, you've really crossed the line now, pal, or things are about to get ugly now. Now, this is an expression that everybody knows and everybody uses. And just to prove my point, just the other day I went to this restaurant with my dad to eat one of my favorite Portuguese dishes, uma francesinha. And according to some experts, they claim that the sauce is actually the key, the secret ingredient to a good francesinha. So what happened was that the street where the restaurant is located was going through some renovation works, and they had this big poster outside playing with the situation, with the expression, and with their specialty, the francesinhas. And it's very clever, and I think it worked very well. Estar feito, Bife. To be made to the steak. Now, it's true that in this day and age, it's not the coolest and hippest thing to say when you're out with your friends, but it's still very popular. Everybody, literally everybody understands this, and every now and then you will come across it. Now, you use this when you're trying to say that something really bad is going to happen to you if something else doesn't occur to stop it, to prevent it from happening. For instance, if your parents find out that you've been skipping classes, or if you forget to bring dinner to your wife after she asked you 1,000 times to do it, then you're going to be made to the steak. And I suppose you can translate this by using the expression in English, I'm so dead, or I'm so screwed, or literally screwed, amongst many other options, I'm sure. Desopilar da frente, or just desopila daqui, just means get out of here, move along, pal, beat it. Again, a bit of a negative and aggressive undertone to this expression, as in I didn't want you to be here in the first place, so it's not that relaxed and that casual. And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to go and watch and like Bumba and Fofinha's original video. And if you found this video interesting and had a good time watching it, please do feel free to leave a thumbs up. And also don't forget to leave your comments, suggestions, remarks in the comment section below. That's it for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.